So everybody knows that building a brand is important, obviously. Like if you have a strong brand, doesn't even have to be a big brand, but if you have a strong brand, then it's just a lot easier to sell stuff. In fact, a lot of times people just come to you. That's kind of the point. So you would think, if it's such a big deal, then everybody would be like working very diligently to build a big, awesome brand, but they don't, and that's because it's hard. There's a couple reasons it's hard. Like first of all, we don't really know what a brand is. Like, have you ever tried to define what branding is? It's kind of like a obscure idea, and then even if we do, like, okay, get the general concept of what it is we're supposed to be doing, it's hard to execute on it. Like, what do you say? How do you get it in front of the right people? How do you do it consistently so you don't burn out? How do you know it's working? And all of that kind of stuff. And probably the biggest challenge is that you still need to sell things, right? So a lot of people think like branding is just getting your name out there, which kind of it is, but we don't want to waste a ton of money just getting our name out there. We also want to bring in customers. And that means you need a strategy that builds a brand and brings in customers at the same time, and does it without having to spend a whole bunch of money or like live in front of your computer posting on social media all day. And that's what we're going to do in this video. So I'm going to show you what a brand is, at least according to my limited redneck knowledge. I'm going to show you how to figure out what to say, and I'm going to show you how to get the message in front of the right people and say the right things so that they will actually come to you asking to do business with you. And we're going to use AI to help us do this, but we're not going to do it in a cheesy, dorky kind of way. But at the end of this video, you will know exactly what to do. And if you choose to, you will be able to have an entire month's worth of branding stuff scheduled and built and ready to go within a matter of 30, 45 minutes. I don't expect you to believe me, which is why I'm going to prove it to you right now by actually doing it. This stuff is what branding is. And I guess really the short way to define it is making people like you before they have an opportunity to do business with you or like your company or your product or whatever. So for the sake of our conversation, that's what it means. Cool. Easy enough, right? So how do you build one? Like mechanically speaking, what do you do to build a brand? There's a lot of misconception around this. It is way easier than you think. It's not like effortless, but it's not really that hard. So the short answer is learn how to use your delete button, Frank. There we go. Come on, you can do it, buddy. All right, one more time. Boom. There we go. So the way you build a brand is you create content that controls your desired target market's opinions and associations about you. Meaning, really, you like control what they think about you to the best of your ability, and you do it in a cool way. And this is where we gotta like really distinguish the meaning of words here. So, content could be anything, right? Like we usually think of content as videos or something like this one or whatever, but it doesn't have to be at all. Like some of the biggest brands on the planet were built from like newspaper and magazine ads, and they're still going strong. But in today's internet age, it could be videos, it could be articles. I'll just draw a little A there. It could be social posts. It could be any of those things. But the bottom line is you make this content, and the goal of the content is to cause the viewer or reader or whatever to feel a certain way. So it makes pretty good logical sense that before making this content, we would come up with exactly what opinions and associations we wanted them to have. That makes the whole thing work a lot better. So there's a magic branding formula that I'll share with you. And I'm kind of using that term like sarcastically because it's a bit obvious, but there's a lot of money in keeping you confused. So you'll buy a lot of courses and stuff. That's not my intent here. I want to deconfuse, if that's a word. Sounds good. I said it with a straight face on the internet, on video. Clearly, it's the real word. Anyway, here's the magic branding formula. All right. Can we erase the blue square without missing anything? Maybe. Man, I really got to get better at figuring out the blue square game. There we go. Okay, here's the magic branding formula. All right. We got to create the content, and the content needs to do this. First of all, it needs to deliver goodwill. So goodwill means like you are cool to your marketplace and you help them. And as a result of that, it creates this sense of goodwill where they like you. And we think that in order to, have goodwill in the marketplace and have them like us, that we have to have like credentials, or we have to be cool, or we have to have like, stuff like the right cars and the right accoutrements. I don't know if I'm using that term in the right way, but let's just pretend, right? And we think that's what it takes. That's not even remotely what it takes. Nobody cares at all about us. And this is a huge relief, really. What people care about is them. Therefore, the other part of this magic equation, goodwill, is plus demonstration. And this is the big one. And if you can do this, which you totally can. So it's more of an issue of when you make the decision to do this, you will do very, very well. Demonstration means demonstrating you can help them by actually helping them. So if you make content that creates goodwill as a result of you demonstrating you can help them by actually helping them, you're making the right kind of content, which means, incidentally, that everything you're ever doing is ultimately going to be about them and what they want and how they get that, which takes a tremendous amount of pressure off, because it's never about you. And it's never about me. Like, you're not watching this video because you're like, well, this guy's awfully fascinating. No, you don't care about me. You want to build a dang brand and like sell more stuff. And hopefully I will demonstrate how to do that, and I will help you and therefore build goodwill. Okay, so these two are a big deal, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, the next little part of the equation here is times frequency. That means we want to do this a lot. Like, you don't just make a piece of content. You want to make lots of content. You don't have to make a gazillion pieces of content. But like one a day might be nice if you're doing written social media posts, or, one or two YouTube videos per week might be nice, but you want to do it consistently and with a pretty good degree of frequency. And the reason why is because the more you do this, the more frequently you demonstrate you can help them by actually helping them, the more goodwill is built, which means the more they like you. And that is what the brand is. Branding is simply causing people to like you, to associate you with the thing that makes them happy, the thing that they want. That's all it is. So we do that by essentially conditioning them. And the final piece of the puzzle here is time. So if we make content that makes people feel good, and we're demonstrating we can help them by actually helping them, and we do it fairly frequently, but we do it for 2 days, not a lot's going to happen. But if we do it for a month, you're going to notice a big difference at the end of that month. If you do it for a year, the entire game is going to change for you. All right. So far, so good, right? Not too hard. So before we make any content or actually do any work, we need to answer 2 sets of questions. And this is set number 1. And this is really easy. And this is going to save you a lot of time. And it's going to make stuff work better. And hopefully you'll sell more stuff. So the first question is for you, and it's very important. Can we make the blue thing go away? We can. Okay. First question is, who do you want? Like, who do you want as your customer? And the reason this is important is because we're going to make stuff specifically for that person. So for example, I have a company called Ojoy.ai. It's a AI tool that helps you write stuff that actually sounds like you, but better. And it helps you get all of the ideas out of your head and turned into good sales copy or good sales, or rather good content or whatever. It's really cool. So I want people that are in business who want to write copy and or sales letters. Pretty simple, right? So next question is, what do those people want? All right. So I know what my audience wants. They want better content better copy, and they don't want to have to do stuff that they don't enjoy, such as sitting down and staring at a blank screen and like hating it. So that's what they want. Copy and content that works. Great. Okay, cool. So your next question is, how can you help them get it? All right. And I will go ahead and give you the follow-up question to this, which is, when you get this answer, how can you demonstrate that you can help them get it? And this is very, very important, because ultimately, the content that you end up creating, whether it's written or video or, what do you call them? Carousel posts on social media, or lead magnets, or books, anything. All of that content is ultimately going to be you doing this. All right. The content's going to be about this, and you're going to demonstrate that you can help them get it by actually helping them get it. Okay. So this is what you make content about in order to build a brand that people like, and that people will like go, hey, I think I want to buy some stuff from this person. So thanks to AI, it's really easy to do. Now, before I show you how to do it, I do want to make like one, dire warning. It's really easy for AI to write like stupid stuff and make things up and be wrong. So this part right here, like, you actually need to know what you're talking when you're making this stuff. If you don't, then it's not really going to work very well. But assuming you know like how to help people and you know what you're doing, this is going to be really easy. All right, so I'll show you how to do all this stuff in a minute, but let's focus on getting your stuff in front of the right people. Because like, what if nobody knows you yet? Or what if people do know you, but you just want to get known by more people? Or what if like the wrong people know you, or something like that? Well, thankfully, this is really, really easy to get good content in front of who you want. So here's how I do it. I'm going to take you inside of my Facebook account first. I do this on Facebook and how do you say in English? YouTube. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm just going to call Facebook and Instagram Facebook. It's just easier. And essentially, this is my top of funnel for my ads. All right. So if I click over here, I can show you the type of campaign that it is. It is an engagement objective campaign. This is a cheaper type of campaign. I'm only spending $50 a day on this. And what this does is it is showing any of these 3 ads to the same audience. All right. I'll show you the ad in a minute, but the audience part is what's important, because remember, our first question is, who do you want? Right. So I've got Ojoy.ai. Like I said, I think that's the second time I've plugged it here in this video. All right. I've got Ojoy.ai. It's for people who want to use AI to create content and sales copy that's like good. So who would I want to like attract as a potential customer? Well, I'll show you. I'm now in the targeting section of this ad, and Facebook/Instagram, they can do a pretty good job of targeting for you. So in this case, what I've done is I've come over here and I'm saying, okay, I want to show this ad to people in the United States between 35 and 50 years old. Just kind of made that age range up randomly. All genders, but this is the important part right here. People who like artificial intelligence and they like copywriting. They don't like both of them. There are people, or rather, they don't like either of them. They have to like both of them. So this audience size is relatively small. We'll just round it up to 278,000 people at most, right? So like, that's not really that big of an audience. But if I have Ojoy.ai, third time, and it's something that helps people use AI to write copy and content, it kind of makes sense that I would want to show helpful content to build my brand to those people. All right. So that's who is seeing my top of funnel ads. These are the first people. And the entire purpose of this campaign is just to get them to watch a video. All right. And so this is just a random video. It doesn't make a pitch. It just teaches people how to use Ojoy. That's all. There's not like, buy my stuff or whatever. Or it doesn't do that because if you remember, what's our mission here when we're building a brand? Well, what we want to do is we want to generate goodwill, make them like you by demonstrating you can help them by actually helping them. And that's what this ad does. So there are 3 ads in this campaign right here. Each ad is being shown to the same audience. All right. I get out of there. Okay. So same thing, same audience. And here's the other one. This is one where my daughter is showing people how to use Ojoy. And the third one is random. Let's go. This one right here. And this is me showing people how to do this cool technique called close stats in Ojoy. And what's interesting is I didn't make these as ads. I just made them as social posts. And I was like, people seem to like these. I'm going to turn it into an ad and see what happens. That's the whole thing. So, how do you know if this is working, first of all? Well, the way I gauge it, and you do whatever you want to, but this is just like always worked for me, is I come over here, and this is for a however many days it is, 2-day date range. And I'm going to look at where's my view? Hang on. Oh, I'm in the right view already. Cool. What I do is I look at the cost to get a complete stranger to watch 100% of the videos because each one of them is around 2 minutes. One of them might be a little bit longer. I think this one's longer than 2 minutes, but it's cheap, right? Like I'm not paying a lot of money. It's 35 cents on average for someone to watch 100% of them. Cool. So all these are videos that follow the thing that I was telling you about, which is demonstrate you can help people by actually helping them and creating goodwill. And there's something really important about these that I want to share with you so you don't end up accidentally losing money. None of these ads have cool viral hooks or anything. Like, I'm not trying to do that. I only want people to watch them if they're interested in using AI to write copy and create content. Otherwise, I'm wasting my money because the real purpose of these ads is to get people into the second phase of the funnel. All right. And there are 2 pieces of the second phase. The first piece is another set of video ads, and these ads are running to people who are also in the US and same age range roughly. And these are people who watched those first videos. All right. So if you watch the first one, which is like clearly not a viral hook entertainment thing, it's just like, here's how to do something, then I'm going to be retargeting you with these other ads. And this one tells the story of a dude named Louis Engel and like how he wrote this cool copy and stuff. And like all the other ones are just purely educational ads. They don't really try to sell anything. And you can tell that these are also working because my cost, I don't know why that keeps doing that. My cost to get someone to watch 100% of these videos is 33 cents on average, right? Now, I don't target only 100% viewers. I just gauge whether or not the ad is like working, whether like people actually care based on whether or not they're watching 100% of it. Okay. So that's like my retargeting strategy number 1 to build the brand. And then the second one is this one. And this is freaking cool. All right. You remember being a kid or whatever and seeing like, magazines and newspapers, and you would just see like a gazillion ads for the same brand, and it would just like be their logo or their slogan or whatever. I used to look at that and I'd be like, that's the dumbest waste of money I've ever seen until I realized how freaking rich those companies were. So I started testing this little method where I do the same thing. And this is like really, really cool. And we have just such an amazing opportunity right now. So this little like third part of the funnel here is where I'm taking everyone who's watched any of these or any of these and anybody who's just like, interacted with my regular social media posts and stuff, and I'm retargeting them. And it is a very small audience. All right. So here's who's getting targeted. First of all, let me show you the size of this audience. It is at its largest 17,000 people. So this is not a big audience at all, And these are the folks who have watched 25% of some of those videos within the past 10 days, or watched a through play, which I think is like 15 seconds in the past 7 days. And everybody else are people who have like done stuff in the past 7 days. And they're in the US and they're between this age range right here. Again, I just can pull that age range out of the air. I figure people that are like 19 or something probably don't want to invest in AI copywriting software. Could be wrong. I don't know. It just seemed like a good idea at the time. I'm only spending $4 per day on each ad. All right. So let's see. I got to change my view for you here. Okay. So where are you? There we go. Okay. So my daily budget for each one of these ads is $4. Now, here's what's cool about this. Okay. You can only, like, you set this up in Facebook. I've got it set up where someone will only see this ad once over a 7-day period. If they see this ad today, they won't see it tomorrow. They'll see one of the other 25 ads here. So what ends up happening is throughout any given 24-hour period, thousands of people see multiple different ads. So just like, let me show you an example of one of the ads here. All right. So I don't know if you can hear that siren in the background. It's very soothing. Let's see here. Here, I'll just choose this one. Here's an example of what the ads look like. All right. There's no real content here because I've already given them content. You know, they've already seen like my videos and stuff. Right now, I'm just like trying to stay in front of them. And the big thing to remember about each of these ads is that it's got Ojoy.ai on it. All right. Huge deal here. Ojoy.ai, because I want them to remember the domain name. So that's what the ads look like. And I'm using a tool called icon.com to, here, I want to show you another ad real quick. Let's see. I'm using a tool called icon.com to make these ads. It's pretty cool. I think it's like 20 or 30 bucks a month or something. And it just makes these ads for me. And there's no, there's no real attempt to sell it. It's just like, hey, this works, sign up. And it actually gets traffic, but that's not really my mission here. My mission is just to show these ads as many times as humanly possible to the people who have already watched my stuff recently. So over the 23rd through the 25th here, let's see, I spent 530 bucks. I'm trying to get to the click thing, and I got 100 clicks. So $5.31 per click. It's not the best cost per click ever, but it doesn't matter to me because most of my traffic is actually people typing in Ojoy.ai. So they don't really click the ads. They just remember Ojoy.ai because they see it so much and they type it in. Here's how I know they're remembering it, by the way. When I come over here to this little view, I select delivery. Now remember, we spent 530 bucks here, all right? I'm going to select delivery and have a look at this. 19,703 people since the 23rd through the 25th, I think. I don't know why it's being weird on me right here, but whatever. Let's see what my day range is. Yeah, 23rd through 25th. All right. 19,703 people saw 3.37 of my ads each. All right. If I make it a little bit longer of a timeline, so if I go over here, for example, and just do a 6-day time period, 34,956 individual people each saw my like 4.64 of my ads on average. So I'm saturating them. They're seeing it all the time. If I go for a 24-hour period, just to give you an example, this is for yesterday, the 25th, 10,000 people each saw my ad twice, and it wouldn't be the same ad. They're seeing different ones. So it's like, just like television, and they end up going to Ojoy.ai and buying, which is great, So that works really, really well. The question becomes, okay, well, what do I say in my content? And do I have to make videos, or can I get away with written content? So good news, you don't have to make videos, but you do need to make good content. And it's actually pretty freaking easy. All right. So thanks to AI, again, shameless plug, I'll show you how to do it. So there are more very important questions for us to answer before we make any content. The first question is, where do I put the thing? There we go. Okay. So these are questions you need to answer for yourself. Numero uno, is how do I want people to feel when they consume the content, right? So like when one of those people who is it like they don't know me from Adam, all right, and they're seeing my stuff for the first time, and they see one of these ads right here, like they see this video, and this could be a written ad too. It doesn't matter. I just chose video because I felt like, how do I want them to feel, right? So like you need to answer that question before you make the content. It's very important because you can get AI to like create this outcome for you. So the second thing is what do I want them to believe? All right. The third question that you need to answer for yourself is what do I want them to think about me? And the fourth question is what do I want them to do next? So in my case, I want people to feel like, hey, using Ojoy.ai to make written content and sales copy might work. And I want them to believe that it might work for them. Might is okay, by the way. Like, I don't want them to be 100% sold on them. I just want them to be like, this might be worth a shot. In terms of what I want them to think about me, I want them to think that I can help them. What am I doing in all of the content I'm showing them? I'm helping them. All the videos just teach them cool stuff, just like this one. All right. And then what do I want them to do next? I want them to go to Ojoy.ai and try it, right? Just take a trial. That's it. So before you make a post, you need to answer these questions. And when you do, you'll have the magic prompt. And I'm going to show you how to use the magic prompt now. All right, so here it is. This is the magic prompt, and this is what we're going to paste into, well, we'll use Ojoy.ai because it's awesome, and I like it, and I want you to try it. So your first thing is, I want to write a social media post for market, right? So in this case, I'm just going to do professional dog walkers. Just why not, Okay, thing number one, easy. The purpose of the post is to make the reader feel like they can use the internet to get customers. So in this case, let's just imagine that I'm trying to get professional dog walkers as, clients or something. All right. So I want that post to make them feel like they, in fact, can use the internet to get customers. What do I want them to believe? I want them to believe that it is possible to get customers from social media. What do I want them to think of me? I want them to think I'm an expert on the topic of getting customers online. And finally, what do I want them to do next? I want them to want more content from me. Okay, so this is our magic little prompt here. So let's use this prompt now to create some content. And we could use this as written content. We could use it as a video script. It doesn't really matter. All right. So before we go to Ojoy, let's give good old ChatGPT a chance. ChatGPT is a pretty good tool. I like it. I don't want to bash my competition. I don't really see them as competition. However, with almost all AI tools, we run the risk of this happening. So I pasted the magic prompt and I was like, write me a little post and everything. And then look at this. It says, I once worked with a dog walker who was amazing with dogs, but invisible online. No one knew she existed except her mom and her 3 besties. We fixed that in under 3 days. Here's how. And blah, blah, blah. The post led to 3 DMs. The DMs led to 2 new clients and yada, yada, yada. That's a pretty good post with one little exception. It is absolutely not true. I have never worked with a dog walker that I got clients in less than 7 days. So one of the big dangers of AI, and like certainly, I'm not saying that ChatGPT is horrible and they're liars or anything, but you got to really be careful to just not take everything it says and be like, well, AI said this, it must be good. Like we got to use a little bit of critical thinking here. So that's one of the reasons we developed Ojoy. So I'm going to do the same test here in Ojoy, and I'll just paste the same prompt, hopefully. There we go. So it's the same thing. And notice the difference. All right. So the first thing it's going to do is hopefully it'll ask me some questions. And this is really important because you want your content to be real, right? Like we want to demonstrate we can help people by actually helping them and making good content. Same thing goes for sales copy and everything. It needs to be you. It needs to be authentic, don't you think? So when we use Ojoy, it actually asks us stuff. So in this case, it's like, cool, you want to make a social media post, blah, blah, blah. Tell me some stuff. What specific online marketing service or expertise do you offer to help dog walkers get customers? For example, I offer social media marketing courses specifically. Now, check this out. What if I don't really want to talk about like my services? What if I just want to help them, right? Because my mission here is the purpose of the post is to make it feel like they can use the internet to get customers. So I can just come over here and I can say, you can type this too. I'm just going to talk to it. I don't really want to talk about my own services or anything. I just want to demonstrate I can help these dog walkers by actually helping them. So the purpose of the post is to just genuinely help them, to make them see that it certainly is possible to get customers from social media. And I believe if we do it properly, then they will think that I'm an expert as a direct byproduct of me actually helping them. And therefore, they will want more content from me. There we go. Now, this is a big deal because most people use AI, and this is why most AI content blows. They just use AI and they'll just take whatever it gives them and be like, okay, this must be pretty good. And it ends up sounding like everybody else's stuff. It's not authentic. It's not them. So now it's like, okay, cool. It understands and is asking me if I have any success stories. What if you don't? I don't. I've never like worked with dog walkers. So I'm going to do the unthinkable. I'm going to tell it the truth. I don't have any success stories with dog walkers specifically, nor do I really want this post to be about me. I just want to give them some actionable advice. And I want that advice to serve the purpose of causing them to believe that getting customers from the internet is possible, that they can, in fact, do it, and that I'm someone who could potentially help them. I love not having to type. Now, of course, you can type if you want to, it's just a pain. So it's given us all these ideas. And of course, we can come up with our own, right? Like I could just say, actually, I think we should make it about XYZ, but let's have some fun with AI. That's what it's here for. I think that this would actually build a lot of trust for a dog walker. If you were thinking about hiring a dog walker and you saw a dog walker locally posting like educational tips about behavior and exercise needs, I think that would be very trust building. So I'm going to tell AI that. I'm going to say, oh, Joy, I like the idea of teaching them to share educational tips about dog behavior and exercise needs. I think that would likely cause the person that's making those posts to be viewed as both trustworthy and professional. Okay, now remember, we're making posts for us that's going to be, positioning us as experts for these dog walkers. And now I'm like trying to tell it what to tell the dog walkers to say. So it's a little bit of like a video inception thing, but nonetheless, this is how you do it, right? And this is how you make your content actually good. Now, this is really helpful because I don't know a dang thing about, what dog walker people are worried about. So if I was a professional dog walker, I would have like answers for this. But this is how cool AI is. So check this out. This is how you can really make it genuinely helpful for people. Okay. So why don't we assume that the dog walker we are writing the post for has very little knowledge about how social media works, and they're potentially somewhat intimidated by it, and maybe they've tried it and it didn't work. And let's also assume that the biggest concern that their potential customers or prospects have is finding someone who is trustworthy and finding someone that will keep their dog safe. So, with all of that in mind, what do you suggest that our dog walker could post that would make those types of clients feel comfortable and would make them want to reach out? Remember, we're creating this for the dog walker so they can get customers, right? And the strategy it gave is actually very, very good. So if I were hiring a dog walker, I would want someone that went through the trouble of educating me about this stuff, like checking paws after walks in the summer. What do you do when you see another dog approaching? It's actually a big deal. We've got this little dog that thinks she's like Conan the Barbarian and tries to attack giant dogs. How to know when a dog needs a water break and all that stuff. So I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, this works well. I like this area of focus. And now it's asking me, okay, well, now that we know what to do, what kind of format do you want? It's giving me these examples. And I'm going to tell it, I want each post to be relatively simple and easy to understand, but something that they could take immediate action on, or at the very least, feel like they could take immediate action on. So I don't want to overload them with information in an individual post. And I want the post to be written, not video. Of course, we could make it video, but it's easier to do written. And now it's asking us which angle we want to use. And I kind of like this motivational post like, hey, you don't need to be a social media expert to get clients online. Here's the easiest way to start. So I'll just type C. And now it's asking us what kind of tone we want. Now, here's a really good tip about writing stuff with AI. Probably should have told you this like earlier. Don't worry about the tone yet. Get your rough draft first and then go tell it to rewrite it and make it sound a certain way. So I'll just like choose one. Encouraging and reassuring with supportive confidence. I don't even know what that means, but we're going to change what it says anyway. And this is brilliant. All right. So, by the way, I can't take any credit for this. I have an amazing developer. And what's interesting about Ojoy.ai is these questions will be different for everybody. So it's not a formulaic Q&A thing, like where you're just filling out generic stuff. Anyway, it's asking a really good question, which is like, all right, for our audience that we're making these posts for, like, what's their biggest limiting belief? Here's why this is so important. To build the brand, all right, we must consistently be generating goodwill by demonstrating we can help them, by actually helping them. And we need to do that with great frequency, and we need to do that over time. Well, helping them involves understanding what's messing them up and holding them back and helping them move past that. So I'll just say, I think their biggest limiting belief is that they don't know what to post and they don't have time to create content. And I'm sure they have tried posting before, but nobody responded. Okay, so that was three of them. Let's see what it tells me. And now we have what's getting near our final question, which is, okay, do we want them to do anything after reading this post? If you remember, we have those like 5 questions wherever they are, and well, 4, which is what do I want them to do next? Right. So in this case, let's just pretend we want them to let me know if they want a lead magnet. Like people comment under the post. I get tons of leads that way. So in this case, just tell them to let me know if they want my simple guide on how to get dog walking customers with social media, and my automation will send it to them. Now, of course, I don't actually like have that, and I'm not going to make this post. I'm just giving you an example. And in this case, it's now asking me, okay, like, do I want to make myself seem fancy or anything like that? And I don't, because it's not about me. It's about them, right? So there's no need to make this about me at all. I want the helpful advice that I'm giving them to speak for itself. Boom. There we are. Now it's asking me if I want to tweak anything, and I'm just going to say no. Just go ahead and write a post for me. Now remember, rough draft first, edit later, right? We just want to make sure that it gets the main idea. You know what I mean? Like that it just writes something that is acceptable for us. And then we can make it sound cool if we want to. So now that we have our rough draft, which is pretty good, now we can tell it to write a certain way. And there's multiple ways to do this. You could actually like give it a sample of your own writing style and say, hey, here's a sample of my writing style, make it sound like me, or you can just tell it what to change, or you could just like edit it if you wanted it to. But here's some like examples of how to do it. Again, I like talking to this thing. It's easier for me than typing. Plus, you don't have to like worry about whether you're typing correctly. You can just ramble. Okay, cool. That's pretty good. I want it to sound a little bit more colloquial and conversational. I don't want it to like try to sound hip or cool or anything like that, but just, like a normal person, maybe drop it down to like a 6th grade reading level. Um, and let's not use phrases like trust their furry family member or anything like that. I think that's just a little bit cheesier or a little bit cheesy. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's just keep it a little bit simpler and easier to read. Also, please format it like a social media post, like maybe put a couple of emojis in there and things like that. Thanks. All right, cool. So again, we have yet to type anything. And sure, like we're taking a little bit of time doing this. Now, a lot of the time is me explaining it. So when you do it, it's not going to take you this long. But what ends up happening is within Ojoy, now you'll end up building this like database of knowledge, and it'll just be able to write like posts for you whenever you want to, because you're teaching it about your area of expertise. And this one's pretty solid. Now, personally, I might not have this first sentence, so I could like tell AI to remove it or whatever, or I would just like not include it, you know. But let's just have a little bit of more fun with this. And okay, I like that post. I just don't like the first the intro of it. So make the intro of it say something like this. It's a lot easier than you might think to get local dog walking clients using social media. Most people think that all of your posts need to be about you and your expertise, but in reality, the dog owners really just care about, is my dog going to be safe? And is this a responsible person? And that's really all you need to post about. Here's some ideas of what to post, and then like go on and finish the rest of the post there. So that's why I like this tool so much, is you can just kind of ramble at it and it will understand you and it'll rewrite accordingly. And this post is a lot better, right? So we could, of course, again, tell it, okay, that's perfect. Will you please format that like a social media post, like, you know, make the sentences like maybe one sentence per line or whatever, and use some more emojis and things like that. So we'll have it format that like a post. And then now we've got a post that would demonstrate to these dog walkers that, okay, it'll help them believe what we want them to believe, which is we want them to feel like, yeah, okay, social media might work. They want them to believe that it might even work for them. They hopefully will think that I actually know what I'm talking about. And in terms of what I want them to do next, maybe they will request my completely non-existent, fictitious free guide. Again, I'm not like out here trying to get dog walkers and stuff. But look at that. Now we've got a killer post, right? And we could just put whatever sort of graphic that we wanted to. And then we would use that as part of our top of funnel branding stuff. So if we make a lot of these, which gets really easy once you make one. So for example, okay, cool. So now I need 10 ideas for very similar posts. I don't want you to like write all of the posts or whatever. Maybe give me like a table that like has the big idea for the post and then like kind of the general contents of the post, but keep it really brief so I can look at it at a glance. So remember, as it's doing that, hang on, as it's writing that, if I come over here, if you remember our formula, okay, where'd it go? Goodwill plus demonstration times frequency. That means we need a lot of it, right? So our very top of funnel might be like one or two of these posts. And then just like I'm doing over here, we might start retargeting people that check out our first posts. We might retarget them with like 10 or 15 different posts, you know, so they're seeing you all the time. That's how you grow a brand, but you don't have to spend a lot of money. Like I'm spending $4 a day on each of these ads. It's ridiculous. Okay, let's have a look. Beautiful. All right. So now we took a while kind of preparing it to write for us, but now we've got like all of these post ideas that it can go ahead and write. So if I wanted to, I can be like, cool, give me an example of the reading dog body language post. Write that one for me and write it in the same fashion and style that you just wrote that last one. So now we don't have to go through all this trouble over and over again. You can just go ahead and write them all if you want, and here's how it'll do it. Okay, it wrote it and it's good. However, we can make it a little bit better. And this is where, like, I call it the magic, the magic equation, AI plus HI equals like really good. Artificial intelligence plus human intelligence is really something. So all of this is really great, but we don't like get it. We don't make the point that this is a post that is meant to be shown by a professional dog walker to their prospective clients until the very beginning. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of reteach it a little bit more like this. Okay, that's close, but remember, all of our posts are ultimately geared to teach professional dog walkers how to use social media to get clients. So in this particular example, we would probably need to begin this post with the best way to get dog walking clients from social media is to demonstrate that you know what you're doing and that you are trustworthy. That's why you might want to make a post that educates them like this, and then, like, give the example of that post that you just gave here. So try rewriting that one and also remember that for future posts that you might make. Okay, so we'll let it think there. And now this is absolutely perfect. All right. So it's put these little line breaks in here, but of course you don't have to have them in your actual content. It just sort of separates it for you so you'll know what to look for. So this is our intro. Best way to get dog walking clients from social is to demonstrate that you know what you're doing and that you're trustworthy. I wouldn't even change the style and tone of this. This is perfect. That's why you should make posts that educate dog owners. Here's an example post you can make. Boom, there it is. Like you're doing the work for them. They love it. All right. Posts like this work because yada, yada, yada. And then, of course, we have our call to action. Hey, man, do you want a guide or whatever? So now let's just make sure, because remember our formula, which is goodwill plus demonstration times frequency over time equals like really, really good results for building your brand. Let's just make sure that we have successfully taught it that the rest of the posts that it creates for us needs to like have the same kind of flow. Okay, I just need to make sure. Well, first of all, that was great. That post was absolutely perfect. I just need to make sure that you understand that all of the posts that we're going to be writing are meant to serve the same purpose, which is the professional dog walker needs to be educated on what types of social media posts that they can make so that they will get the attention of and potentially be hired by local clients. That's our mission with all of these posts. So please let me know that you understand that. And then give me an outline again, like you did earlier, of our next 10 days worth of content where we have the big idea and then a little summary of the content. And then maybe have a third column in the table where you describe how this is going to benefit the dog walker. And let me have a look at that. Okay. So, dude, if I had to like type that, I would never do it. Like, I wouldn't even know how to give that as instructions in terms of a prompt. But in this case, it's just going to go ahead and do it for us. Hopefully, sometimes you got to go back and forth with AI. That's normal. But here we are. Okay. So now it knows our mission. Every post teaches them what types of social media content they should create to attract and all of that kind of stuff. We're teaching the dog owners how to create posts. And here we are. Okay. This is the big idea. This is the content summary. This is the benefit to the dog walker. This is perfect. Okay. So we could like have it write 30 of these if we wanted. I just had it do 10. And now I could just knock out all 10 of them and I could schedule these posts, 2 every day for the next 5 days. And I'm building the brand. You know what I mean? And it's easy. There's nothing to it but to do it. Now, if you've made it this far, I want to give you something cool. Okay. So video is good as well. Being on camera can sometimes be intimidating. Good news is you don't have to, but the scripting for the video is very, very important. Like the way you tell the story and the way you draw people in, right? So I want to share a little secret weapon with you. Okay, so I can't like cut and paste this and give it to you because it's not mine to give, but go to YouTube, do a search for South Park creators on storytelling. All right. Click the video. Sorry, there we go. Click the video and let's get our transcripts. I'm going to grab the transcripts of this thing. I'll toggle the timestamps off. There we go. And blah, 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 blah. Got them. Okay. So watch this. This little thing, what this video is the guys from South Park explaining the like super simple way that they make stories. I don't know if you can hear all that noise in the background, that they make stories highly addictive. And I've tested using their approach and it works really, really well. So I want to show you how to use AI to like combine their method with your content. All right. So first of all, we need to teach AI how the structure needs to be. So I'm going to come over here. I'm back at Ojoy. I'm in the Project Shepherd tool. There's a lot of tools in Ojoy, but Project Shepherd's kind of like the heavy hitter in here. And I'm just going to tell it, let's see, I'm going to paste the transcripts of a YouTube video below. I want you to read the transcripts and make sure that you understand everything that they are teaching. Read every single word of it so that you're a total expert on what they are talking about. Cool. All right. And I'll let that do its thing. And I'll hit there. Right. Type transcripts. There we go. So it knows. I'm not even going to spell transcripts properly. There we are. And paste. Okay. Cool. So you can watch the video to see like specifically what they say. But essentially, they're teaching this method, which is the but, therefore, but method. And it's crazy. It's essentially like a structure for delivering content that creates a little bit of tension and creates interest. All right. So Ojoy just told me, like, yeah, dude, okay, I understand it. Great. So now what I want it to do is I'm going to get it to help me create an intro for this very video. And we'll see if it works. All right. So, okay, cool. So I need to make an intro for a YouTube video that's about building a brand. And I want you to help me write it using this framework. So ideally, what I'd like to do is just like ramble and like just, make up an intro, and then you can help me reformat it and redo it using this therefore but rule. I know, but rule. That is also funny to me. Okay, so it'll say yada, 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 and it'll do its thing. Oh my God, it actually, look, that's two T's in the word but. That's hilarious. Now, this is fantastic. Go ahead and ramble out your initial intro idea. Just let your thoughts flow about what you want to say about building a brand. Don't worry about structure or perfection. Awesome. All right. So that's exactly what I'm going to do because when we overthink it, it sucks. So here we go. Okay, so everybody knows that building a brand is really important. If you have a really big brand, or even if you have a good brand, it doesn't necessarily have to be big. But if you have a strong brand, then it's so much easier to sell stuff. The problem is that building a brand is hard. First of all, we don't really know what a brand is. Second of all, we don't really know like how to do it. Like, what do you say? How do you get your branding message in front of people? And how do you make like content or branding stuff that still sells at the same time, because you don't want to waste a lot of money not bringing in customers, right? So the purpose of this video is to show you how to build a brand, how to figure out what to say, how to get it in front of the right people, and how to say stuff in a way that makes people want to go ahead and buy things from you without you necessarily even having to tell them to buy stuff from you. Okay, that was the end of like my rambling introduction. So if you could, as you like read what I said, understand the way I speak and understand my tonality and all of that sort of thing, and help me restructure that using the framework that these dudes taught. This is so freaking cool, dude. I love it. So it transcribed my ramblings, And now, well, that's supposed to say taught, but it doesn't matter. So now it's rewritten the intro for me. And the only thing that I want to watch out for is it's taken the but therefore thing a little too literally. So I'm just going to say one more thing. Okay, this is perfect, but I don't literally want to say but and therefore all the time. Is there a way to make the same points and have the exact same effect without literally saying but and therefore in every single sentence? If so, will you write it for me? And dude, it's written with the intro script for this video. And again, the purpose of doing it this way is because these South Park fellows have been running this television show for 26 seasons, I think. That's forever. And this is all they do. It says so in the video. They're like, every single episode, this is all we do throughout the entire episode. So I've tested using this, and it just gets better viewer retention and stuff. So what I'll do now, and what I recommend you do, is I don't really like reading scripts very much. I'm pretty bad at it. So I'm going to have it. This is great. Will you please reformat this so that the main points are on their own lines, so to speak? So it'll be really easy for me to follow along with and read when I'm recording it. This is just for my own use. And now I'll take this and I will use this as the intro to this video, and we'll see how it does. Now, what's really cool is you can do the same thing in all of your content. So I could go back to one of those dog walking posts and I could do the same thing. And it would therefore become even more engaging. As a matter of fact, let me show you how. So I'll come over here. I'm just going to copy this one right here. Now I'm going to go back to that chat where I taught it the storytelling framework, and I'm just going to say, okay, cool. Now here's a completely unrelated social media post, and I would like for you to rewrite it and simply use this framework to make it more engaging. I will paste the social media post below. Check this out. Let's see how I've actually never tried it like this, so let's see how it is. Awesome. All right. I don't really need those little dots. Don't know why those are there. Let's have a look here. So it rewrote it, and it kind of tells us what it's doing here. Each point now builds tension or creates a logical consequence. So let's check it out here. All right. Most dog walkers struggle to get clients from social media because they just post pictures of cute dogs. Okay, that's a thing. Now let's build attention. The problem, dog owners can't tell if you actually know what you're doing. So how do you stand out? Now this is like the butt kind of thing. You demonstrate real expertise by educating dog owners. Here's what I mean. And now we have the post here. And even the post itself is building that tension in there. So the content thing is not hard at all, you know. So what I would advise you to do is to follow the structure that I gave you. You want to have a couple of these. You could do this as a video if you wanted to. Like, we could literally just get on camera and read this and make a video, or you could just have your voice and have a bunch of B-roll of dogs being walked or whatever you want to do. Or you could do it as written posts, show those to your ideal perfect target audience, kind of like I showed you how I'm doing on Facebook, and then retarget them with more of the same. And that builds the brand and is cheap. So, like, you know, even if no one's ever heard of you ever, you can become a really big brand to the perfect people in a relatively short amount of time without having to spend a lot of money and without having to do too much work if you use good old Ojoy.ai. Anyway, speaking of Ojoy.ai, it's free to try. So go there, take a free trial, mess around with it, and have some fun. Thanks for watching this long video. Hopefully you found it helpful. I sure did enjoy making it for you. All right, take it easy.